Hello, listeners. My name is Nicole LaChapelle, and I'm the president of RWA's Family Office. I'm very excited to be here today with my friends Evelyn and Jennifer to introduce a new initiative called Wealth with Intention. It is very near and dear to my heart, as I have been in the industry for almost 20 years and seen so many of my clients and colleagues go through life events. And so I'm grateful that these women here are launching this new initiative.
Thanks, Nicole. Really excited to be here. Evelyn Pepe, Managing Director of RWA's Family Office. I've been in the industry for 15 years, guiding clients through their life transitions and advising them and their families. And I'm really excited to be here to talk to all of you about what Wealth with Intention is and why we're so excited.
And my name is Jennifer Votano, also Managing Director of the Family Office. And again, also very excited to be here to talk about this great initiative we have started. It's so important and so timely and really focused on having meaningful and intentional conversations with our clients.
I think it would be great to maybe kick it off with what is actually happening in the industry. If you guys would want to just give us a little background.
Absolutely. So the great wealth transfer is no longer a distant concept anymore. It's here. And what we're seeing is that before wealth passes from older generations who currently control the wealth to younger generations, women will be the primary beneficiaries. Mm-hmm. And we're already seeing this happen in something that we like to call the horizontal transfer, which is when assets pass from husbands to wives. Mm-hmm. And we see this happening because women are living longer. They're also typically younger than their male spouses. So there's really a big window of time where women will be in sole control of their family's wealth. The trend of the rise in great divorce, which is a rapid increase in those divorcing that are over age 50 in this country. And then something that's truly amazing, the rise in economic participation of women. Mm-hmm. And so we can clearly see that with this shift, women will be the key beneficiaries.
Yeah. I think what's also so interesting is that how this is really unfolding before our eyes. We're already really starting to see it. You know, when you think about U.S. household wealth today, there really is this concentration where approximately 65% is held either by the silent generation or baby boomers. Mm-hmm. And so as they start to pass away, and we see some of the components that Evelyn had mentioned, mm-hmm. With women typically outliving male spouses and also mm-hmm. that age gap, we're seeing just this incredible shift of wealth to women. So today, it's estimated by Cerulli only about a third of U.S. household wealth is held by women, but over the next decade, it's going to go to 2/3, which is just this, tens and trillions of dollars that's really going to be a part of that horizontal shift even before it starts going to the next generation.
That's right.
I think it's amazing with the clients that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, we're seeing this live in action. This isn't just statistics and theories. This is really what we're seeing our clients go through with life events.
That's right. And I think what we're seeing is that there's a lot of instances where women, for example, are stepping into wealth without ever being a part of the conversation. And also next generation inheritors, those younger family members, again, coming into the wealth without any context mm-hmm. and without education or confidence. And that's a big part of the work that we do with our clients.
Yeah. I think what's so interesting is we always talk about these gaps mm-hmm. that exist, and the big gap is the wealth pay gap between men and women, which is where women earn, about 82 cents to every man's dollar. Right. And through so many different reasons, it creates a wealth gap, which I think it's about 68 cents
That's right.
for every man's dollar. But there are other gaps that, we are researching and talking about, that's the confidence gap. So many people don't realize, we talk about this all the time, that it wasn't until 1974 till a woman could open up her own bank account, credit card, mortgage, which is only 50 years ago. It's just, mind-blowing when we think about it. And so to Evelyn's point, women just so frequently were not part of the conversation. And so to see it unfold when the male spouses pass away or if there's a divorce, all of a sudden the women are tasked with understanding where all the assets are, what's their risk tolerance, having meaningful conversations about their goals and objectives. It's a lot to take on, especially at a time of potential mourning. So that's really what we talk about so much, is just trying to get ahead mm-hmm. of all of this wealth transfer and really trying to narrow those gaps.
When working with your clients, though, are there specific, tasks or advice that you give them? Because that's a huge jump for someone who does have a confidence or lack of confidence in their knowledge about wealth or where their funds are or their legacy. How do you have that conversation with your clients, and what are some actionable items that they can achieve to start that path?
Absolutely. So there are a number of items. We like to say that we have a 10-step guide to financial wellness that we're definitely going to get to and we'd love to share. But I think before that, it's important to really take a step back and kind of ask yourself some key questions. What are your values? What legacy do you want to have? What impact do you want to have? What is it that you're trying to preserve for yourself and for your family? And that's an extremely enlightening process to go through. And it's those conversations that help shape the planning and the action items that you want to take.
Yeah. And I think about it so much in terms of, everyone comes into the year with the best of intentions and they have so many New Year's resolutions and things they want to do, and it just becomes like very overwhelming, and it just leads to either not fulfilling or just letting it go, or almost like an analysis paralysis, just like all these things that you're trying to do. So to Evelyn's point, just trying to take a step back, settle in, and we're here to listen and just kind of take stock of where things are. And that's really, I think very helpful for clients is when we just say, give us the information. Let us put it together in a digestible format. Ask questions. We're here. It's a safe space. Like every question you ask, we're happy to answer and explain. But just, first and foremost, just like, let's see where things are. Let's understand your tax situation. When was the last time you finished your documents? How are your investments positioned? We do that full analysis, but then let's hear from you. Let's listen. What's important to you? What's important to you today? What's important to you in the future? But so much of it is just listening and taking it in and then putting a plan together. But I think so often, because it can be so overwhelming, that analysis paralysis does kick in, and then it leads to inaction. So that's what we really try to do is kind of make the complex simple, make it digestible, make it understandable, and just really have an opportunity for them to ask questions.
It's great. I'm looking forward to the 10-step podcast.
It's coming.
Which I feel like is the next.
We have big ambitions.
Yeah, we do.
It's like the next episode in the series. This is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many good points here, and why I'm so excited to continue having these conversations with you during the workday with our clients, when we're out in the community talking with other individuals that are in the same industry, because this is such an important topic, and why I'm so excited that RWA is kicking off Wealth with Intention. Yeah. So I'm wondering if you can get into what that means to you and what that will mean to our community.
Absolutely, we'd love to. We are so excited to launch this initiative with RWA. It's all about elevating the experience for women and next-gen clients. We know, again, from hearing from our clients and seeing what the industry says, that there's really not an advisory practice that meets women and next-gen clients with where they are. And that's critical during the great wealth transfer, because we know that women and younger generations experience wealth differently. They have unique decision-making patterns, unique life transitions, and they have unique priorities. And what's most important to them is that their advisor listens, takes note of where they are, communicates with them with jargon-free language, and again, really, comes to them with
Meets them where they are, right?
Meets them where they are, exactly. That's the key part, and that's what we're looking to do.
Yeah, and I think we thought very meaningfully about the name, Wealth with Intention, and we just find that the word intention just comes up so much, not only in our discussions about wealth, but just, health and the way people operate. The world is just so busy and there's so much stuff going on and we're limited in our amount of time. So you often hear people talking about acting with intention. And so, kind of piggybacking on what Evelyn had said earlier about, kind of taking a pause and taking a step back. This initiative is really about having those meaningful conversations with our clients, really understanding what's most important to them. It's really easy to get kind of caught up in different aspects like performance and dollar amounts, but what does it all mean? Let's talk about it. It can be, difficult sometimes to have those what if conversations, like what if something were to happen. But I think we all find, talking with our clients, when you start thinking about that what if, you really get them to think about what's most important to them. And if, God forbid, something were to happen to them, how would they want their legacy? What would they want their legacy to be? So we love the word intention. It's probably one of our, most favorite words. We say it all the time. But that really is another reason why we built this, is just like, let's take a moment and just really reflect on like where we are today. So many of our clients have been successful, whether business owners, wealth creators, entrepreneurs, they have the assets, but really what does it mean? We're talking a lot about like charitable initiatives, maybe helping their children, et cetera. So, there's no boundaries. We want to hear everything, from our clients. We really want to understand what's most important to them.
And based on all the conversations that we have with our clients, we speak with them daily, and we see it when our clients are intentional with their wealth, the choices that they make, the planning opportunities all become more meaningful, and they lead to better outcomes and success within the family for future generations.
Yeah. You say intention a lot, but I've also heard you say a lot of things about education and experience. Now you have the experience. And you're trying to educate not just your clients, but other advisors, other people in the industry who are working in similar areas, right? Like it's really important that we're not the only ones talking about it, right? We want everyone to be talking about the fact that we probably need to shift a little in how we approach advising in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And we say it all the time, right? This isn't just a moment, it's a movement. And we're seeing, the statistics, like you said, Nicole, is one part, but we're seeing it with our clients all the time. And education is so critical in all the work we're doing. It's so important to us that, again, we take that input from the clients and we provide them with options so that they can make well-informed decisions. And so part of those options is educating them and making sure that they fully understand. And so, it makes me smile thinking about all the questions that have come to us over our combined decades of experience. Like nothing is out of bounds. And so ask the questions, and we present the options. But I think having that education and knowing that you're making the well-informed decision really gives just a tremendous peace of mind. The other thing is we always know that clients' lives are changing all the time. We say it so often, look at where you are today. It's probably very different than it was 5 years ago, and it's probably going to be very different in 5 years. And so how you felt at one point may change or evolve. Also, there's so many regulatory changes. So let's bring that all together and make sure that, we're talking about it and having a discussion and making sure that we're acknowledging, if your intentions have changed.
That's right. And as you know, Nicole, Jennifer and I are constantly going back and forth, sharing research, and we actually shared an article with each other last night, and it said something that was kind of eye-opening, that within this great wealth transfer, we all talk about how there's gaps in education and how important that is, but there was something fascinating that they said that individuals are inheriting wealth or stepping into wealth and stepping into responsibility before they have the confidence and the education. And that's extremely, it was eye-opening to read. And again, it speaks to why we're doing Wealth with Intention now, because in order to close the education gap and the confidence gap, we need to be engaging with women and next generation clients.
Yeah, that really was a great article. And just that sentence, responsibility is coming at a faster pace than confidence.
Interesting. You guys have always had great, research done, and the education that you've provided RWA just in the short time that since we've kicked off Wealth with Intention. But one of the things that I find fascinating is when you give us a tidbit or you tell us about something, it's educating, but it's awareness, because of course I've known that, but I've never had the words to put to it, or I've never had the statistic that says that. But as you start to, with this movement that you're talking about, allowing people to have the aha moment, of course that's what's been happening, and now I understand why I probably didn't feel as confident, or I wasn't sure about that next step, or who I should call to even talk about the next step. One of the things was the pink tax, which you were telling me about, just a couple months ago, and now I think about it all the time.
Right.
And so, would you mind? Right, you see it all the
Yeah.
time, and maybe some of our listeners don't know what that is, and maybe they'll have their aha moment.
Absolutely. So we love talking about the pink tax. But
We don't like the pink tax.
we don't like it, but we love bringing awareness to the
Right.
subject, because this impacts women specifically, and it's basically a difference in pricing for everyday products.
Higher prices for women than men.
It's extremely important to consider in women's overall planning, because women are up against the income gap, the wealth gap, also the investing gap, where when women do step into wealth and have earnings and savings, they tend to keep upwards of 70% of that in cash.
Oh, wow.
And we know that investing is the #1 way in this country to grow your wealth. And again, not having that cash sit on the sidelines and not work for you while you're up against higher costs and also living longer. It's really, really important to start planning early, investing early, and really stepping into that confidence.
And I love what you said, Nicole, because, and this is something that was kind of our aha moment, is because we have just spent so much time researching. And so we read the statistics, we read the articles, again, we're seeing it with clients, but then it's like, okay, now what? What's the call to action? And I think that is really why we're creating this Wealth with Intention, is because we see the statistics, we see the facts, anecdotal experiences, but now what?
Right.
And so that's why I love what we're doing, is to just provide this platform for so many reasons: education, engagement, empowerment, community, events. We couldn't be more excited about how this platform is going to just open the doors to our clients and their children. And it's just incredibly motivating, and it makes us so passionate about what we're doing. It's a tremendous opportunity. I mean, this is a once-in-a-generation shift, and it's just an incredible opportunity for women in Next Gen to really take that control and feel empowered.
That's right. It really is a historic time that we're in, and as advisors, we think it's perfect opportunity for us to meet the challenge that's ahead of us. And a big part of Wealth with Intention, we know, is community. What we see often, and it's so energetic, is that when you put a group of like-minded women in a room, it's so powerful. We see that women love learning and engaging from one another. And so building a community, forming connection, sprinkling in some educational content, but also experiential events, because we find that you learn better while doing something. And being in close proximity to other women, seeing what they're doing, hearing what they're saying, it's all incredibly valuable.
Yeah, like-minded women.
I think one of the interesting points, just to pull in together, you're talking about when you become overwhelmed, you become paralyzed, and decide to not make a decision.
Right.
And you're talking a lot about cash sitting on the side. And I know that's probably a separate podcast in our series of podcasts.
It should be.
But it's so true. When you are too overwhelmed with the decisions that in front of you, like remodeling a bathroom, when you're too overwhelmed with that happening, you just don't do it.
Right, exactly.
And so I feel like that's a conversation, Wealth with Intention, when you talk about intention, is how do I make the next step and feel confident and empowered with understanding, with the knowledge of what I'm making what the next step is. And putting cash into market is scary for a lot of people.
It is.
Because you pay attention to the news. And I do think getting together with other like-minded or people who are in a similar situation is empowering, and it gives you the knowledge, and you'll realize that you're not alone. There's so many people in a similar
100%
state as you.
Absolutely. And I'd say, I think that's one of the reasons we absolutely love working with our clients' children and grandchildren, is because starting early is one of the best things you can do. And we all know as we take this journey through time that life gets more complicated. So let's start early. We talk about it all the time. Once our clients' children, have a 1099 or a W-2, like let's open up a Roth IRA. Allow us to have a conversation with them and just gently introduce investing to them. But I think that's one of the things that we see so often with that confidence gap is because women were not part of the conversation early on. And, we also talk about it, as in marriage, it's so easy to divide and conquer. Someone does the cooking, someone takes care of the bills, et cetera. But we see so often that, it's the male spouse that is, financially dominant and taking care of those things. So the woman wasn't part of the conversation. And then to all of a sudden be asked like, well, what's your risk tolerance? It's like, oh gosh, that can be very overwhelming. Right. So I think, starting early is so critical. But then again, to the point of once those conversations start, meeting them where they are. If they're very new to investing, we want to be careful about talking to them about certain statistics. Let's start easy. And it's a process. It's something that you just have to, build over time.
That's right. And you said it, Jennifer, we do not want to make this overwhelming. The world is incredibly overwhelming and complex as it is. And so, again, a key part of meeting clients where they are and understanding their unique priorities is having them take a step back and shift their mindset, because many people are worried about what could go wrong or all the things they did do wrong in the past. Maybe they didn't start investing early enough, or they didn't start saving early enough, or they just made decisions that they're not happy with and they get stuck on that. And so working with clients, we like to show them that, okay, yes, maybe you could have done something a little bit differently, but let's focus on what you can control now. Right. And really engaging in the planning. And we have tools and we have financial projections that can show them, okay, well, what if these things happen? Right. You're going to be okay. Yeah. And that's important.
Right. It's never too late to take the first step.
Absolutely. It never is.
And we found also in our research that people often delay the process because they feel like they don't have enough. Whatever, start with something. Right. You see like all those charts over time of compounding, if you were to invest $100 today, what it would be like in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But people may be like, well, I only have that, so do a part of it. You know what I mean? So it's more just, to your point, like don't procrastinate. Right. And it doesn't have to be everything all at once. Like let's tackle like one thing at a time. And I think where, we find it, very helpful is for our clients is because they come to us very overwhelmed, and we're just asking questions like, when did you do your estate plan? What's your tax situation and all we're asking questions, but it's like we're not going to tackle everything at once. Right. Like let's prioritize. We'll work on this together. But I think that subject of personal finance can be very overwhelming. And then again, it leads to that analysis paralysis and procrastination, et cetera. So we'd rather just, again, take a step back, take inventory, and you have to start somewhere.
Right. My favorite phrase is pencil to paper. Yeah. We have a lot of theories and a lot of conversations. Yeah. And it really is, what is that first step? Maybe when the 10-step podcast, we'll talk about step one. But if we tease it, maybe it is just sitting down and talking, maybe just with yourself. Yeah. What is my financial picture? What does it look like today? What does it look like in 5 years? Right.
That. Yeah. I think that's a great idea, having a money date with yourself, right? Or a monthly.
I love that.
Right?
Sounds really fun.
It does sound really fun.
And it doesn't mean just paying bills.
No, taking stock of where everything is, where all your accounts are, how are you allocated, and more importantly, maybe it's inviting a spouse or a family member into the conversation as well, because we can't stress enough, early communication and early involvement doesn't mean you have to, be fully transparent. You can limit what you share, but awareness is the first step to your guide to financial wellness.
I agree, and I also feel like, we've been working together now for almost 5 years, and we've aligned in so much of what we do, and also with RWA, but so much is bringing both spouses into the conversation. Right. I've had experiences before where, meeting together maybe was a bit overwhelming. So I would have separate meetings, for a little bit until we could all kind of come together and get on the same page. Because if you have someone that's been a part of the discussion for decades and is just very comfortable versus someone who's just being brought into the conversation, it can get overwhelming. So I think it's just so important to just start and just start having those conversations and go at a pace that's comfortable.
And if you do experience, I started my career in estate settlement and with RWA. And so the reality is you might have experienced a life event, right? And again, it's still not too late at that stage to talk to an advisor, to talk to a friend and figure out how you're going to piece it together. Like there are people that can help you. There's individuals like us, advisors who can help.
That's right.
And that's, don't make yourself paralyzed with indecision just because of it.
Yeah. I think also one thing that's super important is, a lot of people will self-manage and do things on their own. And so, they kind of take care of everything, and then they don't have an advisor that's, aware of the situation as well. And so if, God forbid, something happens to that person or they're not able to do what they do, it just can be, we've seen it, it just can be incredibly complex, and, it can lead to like a lot of missed opportunities. But I think just having another person that's overseeing everything and providing a second set of eyes, providing education, there's a tremendous amount of value. Yeah.
Well, it's been fantastic sitting here with you today, ladies. Maybe you can give us a quick tidbit of what's upcoming.
Absolutely. So we're just getting started with Wealth with Intention. So stay tuned for more to come. But our goal is to create a community to engage like-minded individual, women, and the next generation. And so we're excited to host a series of events, both in person and virtual, with the goal of combining a little bit of education, but connection among everyone who joins.
Excellent.
And we've also launched our website, which is fantastic. And really, we want that to be a place where individuals can come. There'll be, as Evelyn said, listing out of events, educational materials, and we're just so excited about it. So you can visit at www.rwawealth.com. And again, as Evelyn said, this is just the beginning. So we're so excited for all that will come.
Great. Well, thank you for joining the Human Side of Wealth podcast series.